MMA UK, Abdul Ahad Patel. I am here with the Cage Warrior Nightmare, a fighter renowned for collecting hardware, a combatant with 6-win kill streak like he's playing Modern Warfare, the Sensei upon time, the man most will fear with emphasis to protect your neck, the king in the north, Bailey Gilbert. Bailey, the new Cage Warrior signee. How are you doing, my man?
Mate, I say it all the time, living the fucking dream, mate. Like, it doesn't get much better than this. Like, it's all happening.
It is. It's definitely happened. Last time we spoke, we kind of, we stumbled upon the conversation, potentially Cage Warriors, potentially elsewhere, but it's happened. You're here,
Yeah, man.
and you're in a sensational division in the Cage Warriors roster. Um, Probably the most exciting division in there. And you're debuting April the 15th, Cage Warriors 152 against Geordie Backs. He's 5-2-1. How you feeling about this matchup? How you feeling about the promotion, the organization, the decision to go over to Cage Warriors?
Yeah, mate, it was an easy decision to make. Like, Cage Warriors is the route to go for, like, European fighters. And, like you say, the featherweight division's a more stacked division out there. Like, a lot of the lightweights drop down to featherweight, and it's just the best division to be in if you want to fight the best guys. And
Mm.
that's what we're here to do. So that's what we're going to see. And fighting Yordi, it's a great fight. When we got offered it, I'm excited for it. And he's a good guy. He's good stand up, like high level judo, like he's good everywhere. He's got good cardio, so it's the kind of matchup I want. So I'm excited for it to put the division on notice straight away. Get in there, get stuck in. So yeah, I'm excited for it, man. It's going to be great.
And you're fighting on a massive card. You got Jordan Hardwick fighting for the defending his lightweight championship against Jan Lees. You got Madras fighting on the undercard. There's so many other fighters stacked up on that card. On that night, Cage Warriors isn't really known for putting on, shit shows, if you like. But there's some big names on there that are obviously going to look for that performance of the night. But as we already know, when we talk about Bailey Gilbert, we talk about dominant performance and we talk about, a highlight reel, if you like. And, you're no stranger for upsetting, the favorite or someone that, is got a lot of momentum behind them. So you're going in against Geordie Backs, who is 5-2-1. His last three fights are 1-1-1. He drew his last fight, won his last one before that, and lost his one before that. Obviously, you're going on a bit of a winning streak. You're clearing up a lot of the featherweights in different organizations. Um, how do you see this fight going down? I know you touched about his judo, but you know you have high level wrestling, grappling. So talk to me how you think like that matchup goes down.
Mate, I'm terrible with predictions. I'm no mystic, Mark. I come out here every time and I say I'm going to put a pace on people. I'm going to drag them into deep waters, and then I put him away early. So we'll just see what happens, won't we? Really, we'll just see what he brings to the table. We'll see if he can keep up with the pace, see if he can keep up with the skill level.
Mm.
But like I know he is good grappling, and I watched his last fight live, and I rate him. So that's why I'm excited for this fight. That's why we took it. So it'd be a good fight. Didn't come here to mess about. We came here to put statements out there and get exciting finishes. So yeah, I'll be very surprised if it sees the final bell.
Mm. And like high level judo against high level wrestling, it can go either way, as you know. Um, and not just his judo, but he also has very high level grappling as well. So that we can expect fireworks if we see it going into a sort of grappling fight. But equally, we talk about your striking. So that's something to kind of be wary of as well when you're going up against someone like that. Do you think it's a bit early to say, but I just like to get your thoughts out there. Do you think a win over someone like Geordie, does that propel you into a good stance into say top 5, top 10 of the featherweight division? Because I know you ain't coming to just fight on the promotion. You like to collect the hardware, as I said.
Yeah, man. No, I don't know whereabouts it'll put us in the rankings with a win over Yordi. We'll see where it comes. But like I said, the division's stacked, so like I'm in here for a multi-fight contract. So whoever I've got to clear up to get there, then we'll get it done. But the belt's the goal. That's the target, and that's what we're gunning for. So whoever we've got to put away to get there, then we'll do it.
Lovely. That's what I like to hear. And how's your preparation going into this fight? I know, like, you're normally as someone that just gets straight back into it after a fight. Obviously, going on to Cage Warriors, are you just a case of you're running a camp all throughout, or is this more specific, more tailored to your opponent?
Yeah, so I'm always training all the time. Like even outside of camp, I'm training like twice a day, like getting to work and getting rounds in with guys. And like it's a lifestyle at the end of the day. But I just focus on like building me strength, me aerobic base, all that kind of stuff outside of camp. And then when we get into camp, we'll get a bit more specific. We'll try and get like the right kind of sparring with the right guys, get a game plan going. But going in this one, like doing a lot more work with my strength and conditioning coach lately. We've got an out of camp plan and an in camp plan that we're going to implement. And I feel great for it. I feel fitter going into this camp than what I have done during some fight camps. So I'm already going to this with a head start. Got good momentum behind us from the past 6 fights, and it's just, especially after my last win, like it's just propelled us massively, and a lot more people are taking notice now. And I've just got to up the game and just keep pushing harder every time, and then keep getting bigger and bigger finishes. So yeah.
With this, excuse me, with this being your first fight in the year, where do you see yourself fighting? Like, do you see yourself fighting a few more times this year, or is this, I don't anticipate it's just going to be the one fight, but are you looking to stay quite active this year?
Yeah, I want to get a couple in this year. Obviously get this one out of the way, see how it goes. Like how long the fight goes on, maybe jump straight back in, see what happens. Obviously all depending on how things go and what Cage Warriors want us to do, and how I'll speak with my coach and look at it that way. But I want to get at least a couple in this year. You don't get to being 23-year-old and having 12 pro fights without like jumping straight back in. It's hard to say no. So last year I was only planning on having 2 fights and I ended up having 4.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think, like, while you're young, and we touched on this before, like, you just keep rolling with it, don't you? Because as you start to hit those later years in your life, that's when the injuries they last a bit longer, and time's against you in that essence. So definitely, like, all goes well on the 15th. I'm excited to watch any fight you're in, but I like to see, you be active throughout the year, and hopefully this one goes as planned, and then you don't sustain any injuries. It'd be good to see you active in that featherweight division, because like I said before, it's a sensational division. There's so many top fighters, arguably the best featherweight division in Europe. And you got the likes of Paul Hughes, Jordan Vucenic, and Ever, yourself, you got Geordie in there. There's so many renowned fighters. I don't think there's a fight you can take that's an easy fight. No fight's an easy fight, but it's going to be high level, and it's definitely going to be challenging. How, for someone like yourself, do you hold your weight quite easily, or do you normally come down? Do you have to come down in weight? Because some fighters, they hover around the weight they fight at, but some obviously drop quite a few weight classes down. Do you hold that quite reasonably well, or do you have to drop quite a bit?
Yeah, I don't think I cut that much compared to like a lot of the guys. Like I'm quite tall for the weight. Like I look quite big when I fight, but I don't actually think I lose that much weight compared to like what I've seen a lot of the guys do. Like, I've spoken to some guys who've done like 9 kilos on the morning and crazy things like that. And I've done weight cuts wrong before. Like like even like 2 years ago, I was getting my weight cuts wrong, and it was ruining us. But like now, I've done a little research into it, and now I got it spot on. Like my last weight cut, championship weight, absolutely pissed it. It was easy. I was bouncing around in the lift going down to the weigh-ins. So if I can do that, then I can do this and I can make the weight easy. So I don't really balloon up too much. Like I says, I'm training all the time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you talking about your, your size and that, I was actually just going to say that to you because you're quite big for featherweight. Do you ever see yourself going up to lightweight, or is feather you quite comfortable and content at feather?
I'm comfortable with featherweight now. I make the weight easy enough. I would probably just make bantamweight if I tried, but that's a lifestyle change. I like my food too much to be giving that up, and I don't think that's the route for us. But maybe when I get older, when my metabolism slows down a bit, then maybe lightweight might be the one. But right now, I can make featherweight, so I'm happy sticking there. To see what happens when I get like me peak, like my physical peak, when I actually hit that. See where my body's at then.
I mean, I like to, think far ahead into the future, especially when you get exciting fighters. But I'm just throwing that out there, like how exciting would it be? And Cage was renowned for having double champions. If we ever one day potentially saw a featherweight champion in Bailey Gilbert versus the Cage Warriors lightweight champion.
Yeah, man, it's got a good ring to it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It sells well.
Yeah, and you're someone that just keeps collecting these pieces of gold. So, I don't know. You got a thing for it, aren't you?
Yeah, man. Yeah, an affliction for it.
Yeah. And so, I wanted to ask you slightly off topic, but it's quite relevant in today's conversations with what's going on around in MMA. But did you catch the Islam and Volkanovski fight?
I've only managed to catch the highlights so far, and I do need to sit and watch the full fight down because there is a lot of the controversy around it. But like beforehand going into it, like I knew it was going to be a good fight. I'd need to sit down and watch the full thing. I've just been that like I've been down Manchester for medicals today and just non-stop. So I will sit down and watch the full thing. But from the highlights, look pretty close. I've always rated Volk. Like I think Volk's a great fighter, and I think like from the highlights, the size difference, just for him to be able to put that kind of pressure and like even like out wrestle Islam a couple of times, like even with a size difference, like he's just well rounded, man. But I can't give it who I thought won. I can't tell you without watching it.
You have to get back to me on that one.
Yeah, I will do.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of sort of discussions on who won, and Volk's obviously still now the pound for pound champion. So Islam didn't really gain that. But yeah, you'd have to watch it and then get back to me and let me know your thoughts on it. But it is an interesting conversation because I suppose it's in essence it's like, well, he won the fight, so surely he's pound for pound. But then did he win the fight? But I don't know. You'd have to watch it and get back to me on that one. But I'd like your thoughts. Equally, I was going to say to you, a lot of these guys that are competing in the UFC and Bellator, PFL, and the likes of One Fighting Championship. Do you ever like watch some of these fighters and think, oh, like do you like kind of pick apart this skill set and think, oh, I can implement that in my game?
Yeah, man. Like I watch MMA all the time. Like I live, eat, and breathe it. Like I watch as many fights as possible and just try and learn from as many guys as I can. Like see stuff. Like I love watching Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo is one of my favorite guys to watch and just pick apart and just little details that I see and I can take into my game. Like my Instagram, if you go on my reels, it's just MMA, wrestling, BJJ, striking. Me and the lads from the gym just sending each other the same kind of stuff all the time. Highlights, little snippets from fights. Like I'm immersed in the world of it. Like I can take it in and just try and just get as much as possible and try things. If it works for me, it works. If it doesn't, then bin it. But you've got to try everything. Like, and if someone's got something to tell us, then I'll take it in and try it.
Do you find that like much off of like your coaching and stuff that like you do watch a lot of like tapes and I know like traditionally in boxing we'd watch like opponents sort of tapes and pick apart their sort of skill set and does that come over into MMA as well where people will you'll watch your opponents and you'll like think, okay, like I can see the strengths and the weaknesses in what he's doing right now, and then really use that to your advantage in your game.
Yeah, man, you've got to study your opponents. Like, you can pick up little tells that reads what to do good, what to do bad. And everyone's got them. Like, I've got no doubt that Yordi's watched all my fights, as well. Like, it's just part of the game. And then you sit down with your coaches, go through it all. Like, we've watched Yordi's fights. We've got a game plan already, and we're just going to like develop that as we go through. So yeah, it's a big part of it. And like even if watching fighters where it's like stylistically similar, like if I'm fighting a shorter guy, I'll watch guys like Max Holloway and stuff, and how they fight and how they control fights, and try and take as much away as I can from that.
Yeah, definitely. Because there's a few fighters that I've interviewed before, and they tend to say like they just feel out the first round, and then they kind of go with what they feel like their game plan then starts in the second round, where they feel like, okay, this is what I'm going to capitalize on. But it's quite a risky thing to do, because if you go out into the first, in my opinion, you go out in the first round and you're just feeling that out. Yeah, you can feel out a round, but equally, if they throw something in the mix that you're not expecting, it's like, okay, I got no game plan right now. How do I go about this? So I would always favor, having a game plan before you go in. And I'm sure some fighters, to an extent, have a game plan regardless if they're just feeling out the first round. But yeah, I feel like at this level, especially at Cage Warriors, you need to go in with a game plan. There needs to be something concrete, just like the Islam and Volk fight. And when you eventually get around to watching it, I think game plans went out the window a little bit, because then they started doing things you don't really expect. And I won't give away too much, but then you saw Islam do stuff that you thought Volk would do, and you saw Volk do stuff that you thought Islam would do. So going off of that, my question to you would be like, on the topic of game plan, when something doesn't go right, I'm assuming here, I don't want to answer this for you, but I'm assuming here that you've got like sort of a plan B if plan A isn't working as well when you're going into fights.
Yeah, like a fight's a fight at the end of the day. Anything can happen. Things can change. People can come out completely different to how you're expecting them to. People can change stances, styles. Just they might have a different plan to fight you compared to how they fought anyone else. So you've always got to have a backup plan. But it's like we're wrestling as well. Like, if you don't get the first shot, you go to something else. You just keep clicking through until you get something. Throw enough shit at the wall and it's going to stick. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, like there's always something like coming off something else. There's always a backup plan to it, and there's always a next step, and there's always an answer for everything. That's one thing I love about MMA, especially at the grappling side of it. Stuff is like there's always a reversal, there's always a defense, and it's the same with the fighting. Like, there's something you can do to combat everything, and you've just got to have all that in mind, and you've got to be prepared to change your game plan. If you go into a fight and a game plan's not working, you've got to change it. You can't just stick with it.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with that. And, I think we tend to see it a lot more in MMA, that people will adapt because they know certain things aren't working. And, they then try and wrestling opposed to striking, or striking opposed to wrestling, or use the cage more, etc. But I think when you look at boxing, you tend to find, like, say, Anthony Joshua and the Usyk fight, the second fight. You're wanting him to fucking knock him out, but the whole time he's just sticking to his boxing. And you're like, why haven't you changed your game plan? It clearly isn't working for you. So yeah, no, it's good to hear, and it's good to get that insight of it, because I think sometimes, like, watching as a fan or someone in the audience, and you can see what the fighter should be doing. Well, obviously you're not in their corner, you can't really see Jack. And you're like, why aren't they doing that? But then, these things have a time and a place, don't they?
Yeah, man. Like, some people, like, when you've spent 8 weeks developing a game plan, sometimes people find it hard to change it. But like, you've got to be adaptable in this sport. Like, especially now when guys are so well rounded. Like, there's no one out there that's just a striker or just a grappler. It's not style versus style anymore. So you could come up against anything, and you've got to be able to adapt to it.
And I guess on the flip side of that, you could, like, some people would argue to say that, when you're in the cage and it's just you and the opponent, sometimes the game plan doesn't feel right, and then they go off of instinct and try doing stuff outside of the game plan because they feel that's gonna work. And I suppose that's a bit of ego, or a bit of like arrogance in it, in some way, that they feel they know better because they're in there, and it's not the coaches that's in there, or the cornermen. Do you ever feel like that sometimes? You're like, oh, your coaches are saying to you, oh, this is the game plan, stick to the game plan, but you're like, actually the right hand's there, I can land this all night.
Sometimes you've got to use your own intuition. Sometimes people can't tell you. Sometimes you'll see things, but I'm a big believer in like listening to what your coaches have to say, and you've got to have that trust in your coaches. You've got to have that respect there. But like there will be times where you'll see something, and that's the difference between like guys who are fighters and guys who don't have that natural ability. Like sometimes you will see stuff that you've just got to go for, and that's the difference between champions. Like you've just got to go for it, and then, but at the same time, 99% of the time you've got to have that trust in your corner and your coach and what you have worked on.
Yeah, and I guess it's more so snippets of things you see opposed to throwing the whole round away, thinking,
Yeah.
oh, I know what's better for this round, opposed to in this moment, I can see that he's dropping his hands, so I'm going to land that right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, when you get into the depths of it, it can be a very long conversation, can't it?
Oh, mate, I can sit and talk fighting all day.
Yeah, man, it's something we're quite eager to delve into. But listen, Cage Warriors has bought themselves MMA's new bad boy, and I'm so excited. And you know, I know you got your fans, but me as a media journalist, I'm so excited and chuffed that you've gone over to Cage Warriors. Like we said in the previous interview, I thought you'll do phenomenally in there. And I can't wait to witness, you know, what you've been working on the 15th, and so on after that. I just want to wish you all the best, as well as your opponent. Both of you go in healthy, come out healthy, and I'm excited to see what Cage Warriors' new signee Bailey Gilbert can do.
Yeah, man. No, thank you. I appreciate you, man. Like I've got a lot of love for you, and I appreciate the support. Like it means a lot. It really does. Like since I met you down in Wolves, like you've been top quality, man. I can't thank you enough for having us on and giving us a platform to promote myself. So yeah, thank you. And I'm looking forward to it.
Anytime, my brother, anytime. And listen, we'll catch up after the fight and go out there and do what you do. And then, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Myself and everyone here at MMA UK. So you look after yourself, keep doing what you're doing,
Thank you,
and
man.
we'll see you on the other side, brother.
See you soon, bro. Thank you.